Good morning, my friends. Or I should say good afternoon. It's not good morning anymore. It's 12 o'clock noon. All right. If you are on this call, well, boy, I just feel like I should just start all over from square one. Good afternoon, everyone. If you are on this live, will you please chime in and let us know you're here and tell us where you're joining us from? So happy to be here today. I'm super excited for my guest. I can't wait. Okay. Hello, Susan and Karen and Deborah. Welcome, welcome. Hi, Heather. Good to see you, my friend. I'm missing you. And Bill, MJ, thank you for being here. So if you are joining us, go ahead and chime in on the chat box and tell us where you're joining us from. Hi, Shirley, Joyce, Debbie, Sherry, Victoria, Teresa, Gwen, Jennifer, Martha. All right. I could drive you all crazy if I just keep saying all your names, right? But it does make me happy to see so many familiar faces and a few new faces as well here. All right. Debbie, that's so cute. Pulling your comment over here. She says, cleaned my bathrooms, disinfected all my doorknob handles and light switches, dusted, and now for some fun with my girlfriends. That's right. I love it, Debbie. Thank you, thank you. Thank you for being here. I was talking to one of my customers the other day on the phone. She had broken her arm, so I gave her a call, wanted to find out how she was doing. And she said to me, we were just talking about, what we're all talking about right now with the coronavirus and such. And she said, you know what, Kris, it's going to be okay because we're going to girlfriend through this. Oh, I loved it. I seriously wanted to start to cry right then and there. So thank you, Jeanette Elliott, for saying what you said, because that I think is going to be just like my new mantra. It's going to be okay. We're going to girlfriend through this. I loved it. I loved it. Thank you, Jeanette, for sharing that with me. Hello. Welcome, welcome, everyone. Love seeing all of you coming on. Today is March 91st. I crack myself up. Welcome to March 91st, people. I saw that meme the other day and I thought, oh, that's funny. I think we all feel that way. It just keeps going on and on. Feels that way, doesn't it? Hi, Betty. I'm so glad you're looking forward to today. I am too. I'm really excited about it. Hello, Debbie, my friend. Annette says, hi, Kris. You know where I'm from. Yep, she's from my back door. She's my neighbor. Oh, that's interesting. Kathy just said, I just moved to Cedar City. I'm so happy to be in this hobby-enriched state. That is very true. We do have a lot of companies in this industry based out of Utah, which is kind of cool. Yes, Carol, North Carolina is in quarantine. So is a lot of Utah. Not all of Utah is right now, but a lot of us are, and a lot of us have chosen to close our doors for right now so that we can try and knock this out. We need to be done with this, right? Hello from all over the place. I love it. Hi, Lori. Oh, stitching on binding. Jennifer says she's here. She's stitching on binding for a mini quilt. That sounds like fun. All righty. So let's go ahead and get started. So glad all of you are joining me today. Look, I'm really efficient now. I'm going to put on my glasses. Yeah, it's getting that time, folks. Now, I usually have contacts in, but they've been saying you probably shouldn't be wearing contacts, so I'm just I'm just doing what they say. So here we go. When I need them, I'm going to be putting these puppies on. All right. Casey says, yeah, I agree. It's like the Groundhog Day movie. I only know what day it is by your schedule. Are you kidding me, Casey? It, that's a scary thought because you know how much I've changed that schedule around lately. I think it's Thursday, it's when it's Friday. All right. Good deal. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. We have so many wonderful people on today, and I am so excited about having my guest Annie Unrein with me today from Patterns by Annie. And let me also mention, if you have not downloaded your workbook for all this week's printables, it's not too late to do that. You can do it now, or you can do it after the call. And if you just go to mygirlfriendsquiltshop.com that you see right here on the screen and go to new releases, you will see it right there. It's just a free printable workbook, but what it allows you to do is take notes during our daily sessions. We'll be on every day, 12 noon Mountain Standard Time, with a new designer. And so let me go ahead and bring up my friend Annie. Hi, Annie. Can you hear me?
Hey, Kris. I can hear you. Can you hear me okay?
I sure can. And
Yay.
yesterday we had some troubles with echoes. So if you're getting any echoes, would you please let us know, everyone? But I think we're going to be okay today because Annie and I both have on little earbud headphone sets, and I think we're going to be much better. So let's hope, right?
Let's hope. Yeah.
Okay,
So this is our new fashion statement here.
That's right. That's right. Do you like my earrings? They're just a little higher.
Yeah.
Oh, Brianne says no echo today. Yay. Glad to hear that.
Yay. That's fabulous.
Good. We figured out the missing link there. The missing puzzle piece was we both needed headphones. Yep. So, Annie...
Thank you to my son, Casey, for having some that I could use.
Yeah. That's right. Annie, thank you so much for joining me today. It's so great to see you.
I'm so excited to be here. I was really disappointed that I had to cancel my trip to your shop a week or two ago. It seems like a year ago at this point. So much has happened in that time. So I'm happy to be here at least through the internet and to get to visit with people all over the world. So
it's
thank you for inviting me.
You are so welcome. And so for those of you who may not know, we were supposed to have a wonderful trunk show by Annie. When was that scheduled? It was 2 weeks ago?
I think it was 2 weeks.
2 weeks ago now. And she was coming up from St. George, where she's at, and we were looking so forward to it at our Sandy location. However, because of all this, we had to cancel it. But please, everyone who was supposed to go to that, you need to know we are still going to have it. It just will be a little bit later. So we're hoping late summer or early fall is our hope, right?
Yes.
But we thought it would be still fun to be able to bring this to you through live Facebook. And now everyone can watch it, right?
Yep, which is fabulous.
It is. So I want to find out from our viewers first, how many of you have made a Patterns by Annie bag before? Will you let us know in the comments and say, yes, I love them, or yes, and I can't stand them? No, we don't want that. Right, Annie?
Please don't say that.
Please don't say that. Please don't say that. No, I know for certain that if anyone had anything to say that was maybe as a negative, it would be like that they can't get enough of them. How's that?
That's good.
Because
I do know that my patterns can be a challenge if you've never made one before,
yes.
because I tend to give a whole lot of instructions. But people, once they get used to my style of pattern writing, say, thank you so much, because it makes it, I always am going to get exactly, things are going to fit together right, and I'm going to have a beautiful professional looking bag when I'm done.
Well,
so a lot of times it's just learning the techniques and working through one or two, and that's always helpful if you've got a store who's got a class, and you can go. We also have a lot of patterns now that have add-on videos that go with them that help you with some of those things. But yeah, don't be afraid. Get in there and give them a try.
Robin says, no, they seem a bit intimidating. I'm looking forward to the class. And you're absolutely right, Robin, that, you know, on the outside, they may look a little intimidating, but because they look so beautiful and so professional. But Annie takes you step by step on how to do it. And like she said, one of the great things about her patterns is she has so many add-on videos where you can get online and be able to watch as she's going through that particular pattern, which is pretty amazing.
The other thing that I think scares people is that there's a lot of words in there, but each step is fully explained, and sometimes it takes this much room to explain how to do something that takes 10 seconds to do. Mm-hmm. So the thing that I always tell people is each step has a check mark in front, or a box, so you can check it off. As you go, just check the steps off and, you know, do them in order. Once, just tackle it like one bite at a time. Mm-hmm. One little step, done, and before you know it, you've got a beautiful bag. The other nice thing about that is if you get interrupted and don't finish it right away, you always know right where to go back. Because a lot of these bags have to be, when you're doing the components and preparing stuff for them, it's not a real big deal if you don't do them in the right order. But once you start assembling a bag, it's really important that you do it in the order it's listed, or you're going to run into trouble with seams being where they shouldn't be, on fronts or backs or something like that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. So you're just taking us step by step, and I love that. So, okay, Annie, how long have you been making bags?
I wrote my first pattern in the year 2000, so 20 years that I've been writing patterns. And my first pattern, actually, I was doing scrapbooking at the time, so it was for an organizer to hang on my door to put all my scrapbooking supplies in. I ended up making a version in it, too, for all my quilting supplies, but probably my second pattern was for a bag. And so I've been writing bag patterns for 20 years, and in that time, I have probably made thousands of bags.
Oh, no doubt.
But the interesting thing is, every time I write a new pattern or every time I sew a new bag, I learn another trick or something to make it easier. And so, you know, we're continually perfecting our methods and making things simpler and easier. And I now have a fabulous pattern development team who works with me at the warehouse, and we have 5 people who, for every single pattern, everyone tests it, everyone makes it. We have weekly meetings where we all sit down and discuss, you know, even before we write a pattern, a prototype, to get all the kinks worked out before we start sewing. But when you get 5 different people, all with varying sewing skills, reading a pattern, it sometimes drives me up the wall, because it's like, how can we be on the 20th version of this pattern? But it usually means that by the time you get it, you're going to be able to understand it. It's going to be clear and concise, and hopefully no errors. Well, it's always amazing to me how we can produce a pattern and it goes out, and within a day someone finds something that all of us miss. Like, but that doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, how did that happen?
How did we not see that?
So this is a nice compliment to you. Kathy DeRochi, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, said, Annie has the most soothing and calm teaching voice. I love the videos and patterns.
Thank you. That's nice to hear.
She also added that she's made 7 ultimate travel bags.
Wow, that's fabulous. I think Ultimate Travel is one of our bags that more people have made probably than any other. And I think what always surprises people when they make that bag, in fact, I've got one here. Let me bring it up and show it to you. So those of you who haven't made it know what it looks like.
Ooh.
So it's a big, beautiful bag. And people look at this and say, there is no way I can make that. But it is actually a really simple process. You make a front, you make a back, you make a loop that goes to connect those. You know, you've attached handles and pockets. And so many people have made that bag who've never made a bag before. In fact, I had one lady who said, I've never even sewn before, and this is the first thing I sewed, which to me was really brave. But her bag turned out beautifully, and she was so, and she said, you know, I'm feeling pretty invincible right now. And it's like, yeah, you should be, because that's a big accomplishment.
Power to the people.
Yeah. Power to the people. Amen. But what they say is, because it's all done step by step by step, it's like, oh yeah, I can make a pocket. Oh yeah, I can make a handle. I can do that. And oh yeah, that's really simple to put it together. So yeah, it's not so scary.
Yeah. If I can, she's going to show me how to do the zipper. She's going to show me how to do this pocket. Now I'm going to do the binding, and you bite the elephant one piece at a time, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So where does all your inspiration come from, Annie? Because I'll tell you what, every time I go to market, I think, what else can she come up with? Because I think they've all been done. You have so many bag patterns, and yet you never cease to amaze me. You still continue to come up with things. Where does it all come from?
You know, when I started, I would say that most of the patterns that I did came from needs that I had. Like, I need something to carry all my tools when I go to class. You know, how can I design that? Or I need a new purse. You know, what style do I want, and how do I do that? Now I would say the vast majority of my ideas come from customers. I get emails several times a week from people who say, I need something for this. And sometimes they're really esoteric. Like, I had a lady one day who wanted me to write a pattern for a case to carry her walking stick in. And it's like, I can see that would be really helpful, but I'm not sure how much of a market there is for it. And the thing that I have learned, especially since we have this development team, is every pattern that we do is probably a full 3-month process. Yeah. From the time we come up with the idea until it's ready to market, and probably actually longer than that. We've been working since December on new patterns for spring market, which isn't happening now, but we're going to try and release them anyway. Okay. And we've got 5 patterns that we still are working on. We haven't filmed videos for them. We haven't even written scripts for them. That's how long it takes to do that. 5 more is our goal. Cow. Yeah. So, but there's a lot of work still to be done. And with me being kind of quarantined at home, the filming the videos is the part that hasn't been done yet. And we're working on scripts, and I'm working on step outs so that I'll have that ready to go when we all feel that it's safe to do that. So far, I haven't felt like I want to go be in the midst of all that just yet. Yeah. So we'll see how that works out. But again, people send us their ideas, and we get together as a team, and we talk about, you know, what do we need. One thing that we try to do is each time that we come up with, or we're facing market, we try to do something that's for the home, some type of purse or bag, some type of organizational thing, you know, so that we have something that appeals across the board to lots of different people. And that makes it really fun. I also have people who actually send me purses and bags and say, this is my very favorite bag in the world, and I can't find one like it anymore. Will you make a pattern for that? Yeah. I have boxes full of stuff like that. And every time that we are considering a new pattern, we actually dig through those boxes and look at things and say, okay, this is what we really like about this bag. Let's see if we can incorporate this into a pattern. So it's been a lot of fun.
So really, what you're telling us is the fun is just going to continue for years to come, right?
I know that I could write patterns for the rest of my life just based on the ideas that are already in my files. So I need to live to be at least 200 to get through them all.
Can you
Some days I feel like I'm getting close to that.
That's right. Cheryl asks if you can give us a hint on what is to come. Maybe one of the things that you're going to share?
I'm actually not showing you anything that's coming today, but I can tell you that we've got a couple things that are going to be for the home. Okay. One that will be for in the kitchen that we've had a lot of requests for, and another one that can be used in basically any room of the house. It's going to be something that kids enjoy, but sewists will like it. It's something for organizing or holding supplies. And of all of them, it's probably the one I'm most excited about. I made my first prototype for this pattern about 2 years ago because my daughter-in-law wanted something to hold all my grandson's toys. And so we came up with this idea, and I made several for her, and she said, that is absolutely the best thing that you've ever made. And so he actually, the very first prototype that I made, he came over and I showed it to him, and he latched onto it immediately and said, can I have a marker? He was like 2.5 at the time, or maybe 3, but he wanted to write his name on the front so everyone knew that was
his.
Yeah. So now they have like 6 of them, but he was at my house not too long ago, and he said, Nana, I need some of those. And I said, well, you have some. He said, no, those are Mom's, because Mom, had put stuff in them. So I've made him a set for his birthday, which is coming up in a couple weeks. And he wasn't sure that he thought that was a great idea as a birthday present, because it really wasn't a toy. But I said, well, there will probably be something inside it. So then he was okay with that.
There you go. It's all about what's on the
inside. Is that enough of a hint?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. I've got some ideas that I think might be looming around there, so I'm excited to see them. So when will those new things be released? May?
Our goal was to, of course, have them all done by spring market, which was supposed to be the 15th of May. And so our thought was that we would at least release them by then. The problem is, if the videos aren't ready, it's difficult to release the pattern and say, here's the video that goes with it, and the video's not there.
That's true. Right.
So normally it takes us about a week to do the filming, and then it takes Jake about 2 weeks to do the videos, get them edited and ready to go. So we're down to the wire.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that we'll probably release one and then the next one. So we'll space them out a little bit and not all at once.
The good news is that in the meantime, there are plenty to choose from.
Absolutely. We have over 200 patterns. And so, most people haven't even scratched the surface of the number. I have a good friend in Washington, Leslie, who is the technical editor of our patterns, and I think that she has made 99 models, not all the same bag, but she probably, as far as I know, Lely Bunny, as her Instagram handle, has probably made more of our patterns than anybody I know. Wow. And she has this uncanny ability when she tech edits patterns. I swear she can sew in her head, because she's reading a proof, sometimes with no illustrations in it, usually with no illustrations in it. Right. And she can think of things that none of the rest of us noticed before we got to the stage. So, it's pretty impressive.
Good to have a good team, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I couldn't do this by myself.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate all of them.
That's wonderful. So what I know you have a little demo plan for us. So I'm wondering if you could show us how to do something in particular on your bags.
I would love to. What I thought I would share with you is a little demonstration about zippers, because zippers tends to be one of those things that really scares people. And we have a series of videos on our website. If you go to Bianni.com and click on the tutorials tab and scroll down, you'll see a series that says zippers are easy. And that's really my mantra, that zippers are easy, and don't be afraid of them. But sometimes it takes someone showing you that so that you can understand that. So the first thing I want to do is show you how easy it is to make your own zippers using a product we have called Zippers by the Yard. And then I want to show you how to take that zipper and put it into a project.
Perfect.
So let's start with, let me show you what Zippers by the Yard look like. So we have zippers available in a 24-inch single slide style, a 30-inch or a 40-inch double slide style, and then we have a product that we call Zippers by the Yard. And they come in 32 colors, so lots of fun colors, and they have 4 yards of zipper chain and 16 color-coordinated pulls. With black and white, we also have what we call a multi-pack, where you get 4 yards of black or white chain and then 16 different colors of pulls. So those are really fun to do. That's actually what we did on this little bag. This is a bag pattern called Clam Up.
I love that.
This is made Krista Watson's fabric. I see she's going to be a guest coming in a couple days. And we did the white zippers, but on each one we color coordinated the slides to match the fabric that we use. So that one has a blue slide. This one has a turquoise slide.
Oh, you know what? I say life is too short to try to be too matchy-matchy. You gotta, you gotta have fun with it.
Up. Yeah, so mix it up. So this is a really fun project. If you're sitting at home and wondering what you can do to fill your time, we have so many great patterns that are quick and easy projects to do. This is the perfect time to get going on your Christmas presents.
Yes.
I mean, by June, you could be set for the year, and what a nice feeling that would be. But these are really great because you've got 5 sizes all in the pattern and fun to do. So let's talk about how you do the zippers for this.
And we do have all the colored zippers on our website and all of the patterns and everything. So, yeah.
Yeah, so that's the one thing that I found is most sewists have a good stash of fabrics, but they don't have a good stash of all the other things that they need. So Zippers by the Yard are a really great way to have zippers on hand for whatever project you're doing. And, if you don't want to invest too much, these multi-packs are really great because white or black goes with a lot of things, and then you can add the color with the pulls. So when you get your Zippers by the Yard, I have my whole stash here stuffed in this little clam up. What you're going to have is a 4-yard piece of zipper chain, and with it you're going to get a bag that has all the slides. And if you've never done this before, that might be a little bit overwhelming, but I'm going to take the fear out of it right now. So, Kris, can you see this okay? Do I need to pull my screen down a little?
If you're going to go, let's pull your screen down. I know you have a handy little tool. Look at that. Does anyone recognize what that
my computer's too far away for me to reach, so my little back scratcher is perfect. How's that?
I love it. That's perfect.
And then when my back itches, I can scratch my back, too.
That's right. Exactly.
All right. So when you get your zipper chain, and this is something that sets by Annie's zipper chain. Can you see this okay?
Yes.
Okay, so this is something that sets our Zippers by the Yard apart from most other companies who sell a similar product. Each end of our tape has about 3/4 inch of just fabric before the teeth start. And if you can preserve this end until you have all of your slides put on, it really is a piece of cake to put the slides on. So if you look at that end, it has the tape. This end also has the tape. Here's the trick. Once you cut a zipper off of here, then you're going to have to put your slide straight onto the zipper teeth. And it's not as easy. So if you can preserve one of these ends until all your zippers are made, it's going to be much easier. So my suggestion is I do this in 5 steps. The first step that I do is mark the length that I want for my zipper. So let's say that we want to make a 12-inch zipper. I'm going to preserve this end for my slides. I'm going to go to the other end, and I'm just going to mark a line across my zipper tape. And I have found that it's also much easier to mark these lines before I pull any slides down, because then I can lay my ruler on here and, read the lines and mark across it, and I'm not on top of zipper slides. Okay. So I'm going to lay my stuff out, and when you measure it, you're going to measure from the end of the teeth, not the end of the tape, because that's where your zipper is going to end. So let's say I want to make a 12-inch zipper. So I'm going to align the 12-inch zipper at the end of my teeth, and then I'm just going to mark a line right across my zipper tape. If I was working, like, say, on the ultimate travel bag, for that one, I need a 30-inch double slide. I need a 12-inch single slide, and I need a 18-inch double slide.
Okay.
Single slide. So I would mark 30, 12, 18, whatever order. So I'd mark all those sizes on here, and then I'd go to the other end and put the slides on. The reason that you want to mark the lines first is, for instance, the outside of the bag, I want to do a double slide zipper. So I want to make sure that my zipper, when my bag is closed, my zipper slides are at the top, and I can open my bag this way, or I can open my bag this way, but when I close it, it's closed at the top.
Okay.
So if I'm doing a double slide zipper, those slides have to kiss in the middle. And so I have to put them on differently than I would put them on if I was doing a zipper in a pocket, where there's only one zipper going on there. So when you mark this, you just have to remember what order you marked them on. So if I marked the 12-inch single slide and the next one's my double slide, I know that the first slide has to go on going that way so that my pocket closes that way, but the next one has to go on differently. And I'm going to talk about that next. Hopefully that's not too confusing.
So that's why the zippers by the yard are so nice.
Absolutely, because you have total flexibility. If you want a 5-inch zipper for your catch-all caddy, the little pocket on the end, and you just need a little short zipper for that, you make that. If you want a 140-inch zipper for some big bag where you need that much to go around it, you can make that. If you're doing like this is my pattern called ruler wrap, and these have mesh pockets to hold all your rulers. Let's say that, well, right here you can see. This one I had a long pocket to put my big ruler and a shorter pocket, and I didn't want those rulers when I carry it sliding over each other, so I put divisions in here. I've got a separate zipper slide on each pocket, so I can open this pocket without also having to open this pocket.
Brilliant.
Or I can open this pocket without doing that. So if I want to put 2 slides on, if I want to divide that pocket into 3, I can put 3 slides on. And you can't buy a zipper that has 3 slides on it, but you can make a zipper with 3 slides really easy.
Yeah.
So let me show you how you do it. I'm going to work with a different color just so you can see it a little bit better. Probably not the best idea. Let's do green. So if you look at this zipper, you're going to, and I usually turn it to the back to show this, you're going to see that there's a straight end at the bottom and a curved end at the top. Hopefully you can see that okay. And if you look straight on...
Can you pull it up to the camera just a titch more? There we go. There we go. Well, up a little bit. Okay,
so there's a flat end.
Yes.
Okay, there's a flat end at the bottom and a rounded end at the top. And if you look straight on at that rounded end, can you see that there's 2 channels there?
Yes.
And if you look straight on at the flatted end, there's just 1. So when you pull it on from the rounded end, you have to pull your tape open so that you have 2 pieces, because you have to have one piece of fabric going in one channel, the other in the other. When you put it on from the flat end, you can only put it on to 1 piece, so you have to leave your tape shut for that. So to put it on from the rounded end is what I prefer to do, because when I do that, and I'm going to the other end that I haven't marked, I like to put it on from the rounded end when I can, because it keeps my zipper tape shut. It's not opening it, and I don't have 2 pieces of zipper tape hanging loose out there. So since I'm putting on from the rounded end, and when I started doing this, this was the only way I could figure out how to do it. So when I started doing zippers, I actually called the company that we buy zippers from, and I said, what's the trick to putting the slides on? And they said, no trick, you just put them on. I was like, really? Is there a tool? No tool. You don't need a fork. You don't need any of those fancy tools. You just put it on. And so I started practicing, and I figured out, yeah, they were right. If I went on from the rounded end, it was pretty easy, but I could not figure out how to get it on from the flat end. So I always said, you have to put it on from the rounded end. Well, I learned that that's not necessarily true, and I'm going to show you what my son taught me. But first, let's put it on from the rounded end. So again, because the rounded end has those two channels, we have to pull our tape apart.
Right.
And you don't have to pull it very far, but enough that you can hold it on each side. Then you're going to take your zipper slide, and the left side of your tape, you're going to slide. Okay, here's something I forgot to mention. You want to make sure your zipper tape is right side up, which is where you see the teeth. So if it looks like this, flip it over. Mm-hmm. And you want to make sure that your zipper slide is also right side up and that the rounded end is facing you. So I'm going to take the left side of the tape and slide it into the channel on the left. And it's just going to kind of hang there like that. Can you see that okay?
Yeah.
And I'm going to take the right side of the tape and slide it into the right channel. And I'm going to get that so that that's even. And then it's going to be very much just like putting your jacket on with a separating zipper. You've got both of those in there, and then you just grab a hold of the slide and pull it down.
That.
So it's super simple and easy to do. I wanted to have two slides on that one. Like if I was doing a pocket that I was going to divide into, I'd just pull it apart, and I'd put the next one on. And the trick on this is making sure that you're getting your ends even, so that when you pull down on that, you don't have bubbles in your tape. But now I've got a zipper with two slides on it, ready to go for a pocket. Well, now let's say you want to do a double slide zipper for the top of your bag. And for a double slide zipper, see if I have one here I can show you. Okay, so for a double slide zipper, in order to be able to open it this way or this way, your rounded ends have to kiss in the middle.
Right.
So that means if I'm only going to put it on from the rounded end, I've got to put one on from this end, but then I need to go to the other end to pull the other one on, which is what I used to do. And so I would say, well, it's going to be easy to do one because you've still got fabric on that other end. But once you've cut it off, then you're going on to cut tape, and it's not as easy. Well, my son heard me say one day, you have to go on from the rounded end. And as sons do, he thought, oh, yeah. And so he went home and practiced and discovered that you can go on from the flat end. And here's the secret to that. Remember how we said the flat end only has one channel? Yeah. So you've got to keep your tape together. You don't want to separate it. So what I usually do, I'll see if I can do this backwards, is I take this and I hold it together so that it's one piece of tape. And then I take my slide and I put it on there. I don't know if I can do this backwards. We'll see. There I go. So I put it on so that I've got tape going through both sides, and I pull it down, and I get it until it hits the teeth. And now if you look at this, you are going to see why I thought it wouldn't work. See how I'm pulling and pulling and pulling on that, and it is not going down? Yeah. It's just sitting there. Casey figured out that once you get it so it's connecting with the teeth, if you put one finger here and one finger here and do this, it goes down just as easy as can be. So now the beauty of that is I have my zipper slide with the rounded side up. Yeah. My zipper tape is separated into two pieces. So now when I want to go do Casey. Now when I go to do the next one, I just slide that in. I make sure I get it even. And a lot of times what I'll do at this stage, is I'll lean it up against a table or something so that I can hold it down at the bottom and make sure I'm getting it nice and straight. But I can hold that and just pull down on it. And there's my double slide zipper ready to go for my project. Yeah. So I've got my two zippers slides on ready for my 12-inch zipper. I've got this one now for my double slide zipper. So my first step was to mark. My second step is to attach the slides. My third step is to move those slides down into the marked sections. So I'm going to move both of these all the way down into this section, and then let's say I marked a 30-inch one for my double slide. I'll move those slides down into that section, and then my next step is to stitch. And what I'm going to do in that is stitch on each side of where the zipper slides are so that I create stops. because just a line of stitching through that zipper tape is going to keep me from accidentally pulling that slide off of there. Because when you buy zippers by the yard, there are no stops like are on a regular zipper.
Right.
And the beauty of that is you don't have to worry about hitting them with your foot when you're sewing the zipper in. Sure. You just sew through the zipper and trim the extra zipper tape off. Sure. But you need to, if you don't want to have to put the zipper pull back on when you go to assemble your bag, make sure that you just sew across the end, and that will keep your slide from coming off. So the fourth step then was to stitch on either side of your marked line, and the fifth step is to cut. So the very last thing you do is cut all those zippers apart. Now let's say that you were making a project and you had some zipper tape left over that let's see, this one I've already sewn on each end to keep those from coming off, but I'm going to pull hard on that so it comes off. So let's say you've got some zipper tape left over and it already has cut ends and you need to put the slides on that. Here's the secret to that. First of all, trim them so they're nice and straight across. And I usually just use my rotary cutter, but scissors will work too. And then separate your tape. You don't have to have it this far separated, but I pulled it off that way. So separate your tape so you have two pieces. If you're going on cut tape, you really want to go on from the rounded end. So then you're going to take your rounded end and you're going to slide. I don't know if I can do this from the back, but you're going to come in a little bit from the side. And the trick on this is don't go too far. So I only go about halfway up. And then I'm going to bring my other side in so that it's about halfway up. Now my problem is I have one hand holding this side. I have one hand holding this side. I don't have another hand to pull down on that slide. And when I started demonstrating this, I would usually turn to whoever I was demonstrating to and say, can you pull down on the slide? And they'd do it, and off we went. Well, if I was home by myself or up on a stage, there was no one there to pull on it, so I would do what most people would do, and I'd use my teeth. Well, I was at a show in Washington several years ago, and I did that, and when I got done, this nice lady, and I said, may I help you? And she said, I'm a dentist, and your teeth are not meant to pull on zipper slides. Stop that, because if you have to get that fixed, it's like $1,000. And I'm really grateful she said it to me, because I went home and practiced and discovered that if I only go about halfway up into each of these, once I get it to that stage, all I have to do is take this finger and give it a little tap. I'm going to have to turn this around because I don't think I can do it from the back.
Okay.
So I'm about halfway in there, and this is all in my zipper tutorial if you want to watch it up close. But I just give this a little tap, which kind of locks it on there, and then I can.
Well, there you go.
So it's not impossible to put it on from a cut in. It's just much easier to go straight onto the tape. So yeah, if you accidentally pull a slide off or you accidentally get your pocket sewn in and the zipper slides on the wrong end, don't despair. You can fix it. I didn't do that easy the first time I tried, but I sat down with a zipper one night while I was watching TV, and in about 20 minutes I had it mastered. So it's a great thing to do while you're quarantined with coronavirus. Practice putting zipper slides on.
That's Susan said, tonight for entertainment, have your family practice zipper slides.
Yeah. Yep.
Heather writes, mind blown.
Mind blown? All right.
Mind blown. So, yeah, a lot of people excited about these tips.
So, here's another fun thing. Take two different colors of zipper tape and put them together. So, if you look at this little set.
Did not. Oh!
This is a pet called All Aboard. And we've got 3 different sizes of little train cases.
Okay, that's
and we couldn't decide what color of zipper to do, so on every one of them we did 2 different colors. So this one's orange and pink, and this one's pink and turquoise. So this is a really fun fabric by Carrie Bloomston called Wish. Fun elephants and stuff, but I love the look with the different colors of zippers on
Annie, that is killer. I love the idea of the 2 color zippers.
Yeah.
How fun.
So yes, save all your leftover zipper tape, and the other thing, I'm looking for my single piece here. We have some patterns that use just one side of the zipper tape. So this is a pattern that was new at Fall Market called Flippin' Out.
Can you pull your camera up a little bit? Or oh, there we go. That's fine.
How's that? Can you see the whole thing?
Perfect.
Here it is, standing up. So this top, when you zip it open, the top folds down.
So cute.
And you can see what's in there. And there's two sizes. So this is the large. Here's the small one. This is a fun fabric called Pencil Club from Heather Givens. This is Tula Pink's new handmade fabric. Whoa. But these are awesome for carrying scissors, rotary cutters, pencils, all kinds of things. But this is just one side of a piece of zipper tape.
Wow.
And so you attach it to the bag, and then you pull the slide on. So the fun thing to know is that your zipper tape your slides don't have to go on from one end or the other. They can go on either way. So just like I showed you on that orange zipper, you're going to bring your ends together. You want to make sure that you don't have that twisted or whatever. And then you do the very same thing. And at this point, your zipper is going to be sewn to your project. Mm-hmm. So you're going to have some fabric there too, but you just put each end in, give it that little tap. Mm-hmm. There we go. And pull it on.
Tap, tap.
And so
I love that.
That is sewn into your bag. That becomes the top, and you zip it open down to the bottom.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I love that. I love that bag so much. I can't stand it.
Have you made this one yet?
No, we did a class here at the shop with it, but I have not made it myself yet.
Oh, but you need to. It's fun. Once you understand the process on that, it's so fast.
And
fast and easy.
We also carry Tula's homemade fabric line, so I think those bags are so cute in that.
We have another new pattern that we did at Fall Market for sewing machine covers.
Oh.
And this one is not made with Tula's fabric, but the one on the pattern cover, this pattern's called Undercover. The one on the pattern cover is made with Tula's fabrics. And if you put those sewing machines right here, it just makes it so much fun.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So this is to go over your sewing machine. There's a pocket in the front where you can put your manual, pocket on the end for your foot pedal and cords, slip pocket on the back for your tray, which you can open either from the top or from the side. The pattern includes both directions. And then the top has flaps that lift open so you can reach in and grab the handle if you need to carry the machine or move it. This is a great way to show your sewing machine a little love and make it its own quilt.
That's right. I would imagine you probably do it based on whatever size your machine is, right?
Yes. The pattern was kind of, I couldn't write a pattern for every different machine out there. So since I am a Bernina girl, I wrote it for 3 different sizes of Berninas. So it's the 3 series, the 5 series, and the 7 series. Okay. So there's 3 different sizes in the pattern. But the pattern and the video that go with it tell you how to measure your machine to determine which of those sizes is closest to your machine, and then how to adjust it. We took these around when we were developing the pattern, and we went to our local store that sells Fofs and Genomes and Baby Locks and Brothers, and for the most part, it fits most machines with really minor modifications.
Perfect.
So, it's a fun one to do.
Yeah, and that Tula line would be so cute on it.
We have 2 or 3 sets of them, but they're all off at stores for trunk show, so I didn't have any at home to bring.
Yeah.
And actually, they're probably sitting in someone's back closet because their store's probably closed.
That's right, exactly.
Hopefully that'll lift to one of these days and people are going to be able to see them.
That's right. So tell us about, first of all, thank you so much for the wonderful demonstration on the zippers. Because
hopefully you could see it okay.
Oh, absolutely. But I know there's another product that I feel is just one of the crowning jewels of what you do, and that is your Soft and Stable. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
I would love to. Soft and Stable, I agree. Soft and Stable is the thing that takes your bag from looking homemade to looking like a bag you bought.
Absolutely.
And it's something that I developed maybe 6 or 7 years ago now.
Okay.
And I did it because I wanted to make a purse that would stand up and hold its shape, not be sloppy and floppy, but would be easy to do. And so,
and then, when you're done with that, make sure to move your camera up so we can see your pretty face. There we go. Get that. There we go.
How's that?
Look at you.
That
I love
work?
it. Yes.
Much easier than walking all the way around the table and the lights.
Right.
So Soft and Stable is a firm but resilient foam, and it has a soft fabric lining on each side of it. The purpose of that fabric lining is if you put foam against your feed dogs or your foot on your machine, it just doesn't want to move. So if you want to sew through it, it's got to have a fabric lining on it. Our foam is the best quality on the market. Our fabric that goes on it is the best quality, and it has a really soft nap. So it hugs the fabric that you put on there and keeps it from sliding and moving around. So it makes it really easy to sew through it. Usually, if you look at most of the bags I have here, usually I quilt through it, but sometimes I don't. So like on these little clam-up bags, we wanted them to have a really smooth, clean appearance, and we just sewed through it, or sewed around the outside edges to attach it, and then assembled our bag. But if you want to quilt, the beauty of it is you can quilt a piece of fabric this big, and when you're done, you have a flat, smooth, rectangle of fabric still. It doesn't shift and pull and get wonky, and it just stays really stable. So it just makes life so easy, and it sews through beautifully.
Yeah, it does. It sews like butter. I mean, your needle will go through it with no problems whatsoever. We're huge fans of it here at Girlfriends. Huge fans of Soft and Stable. We buy it by the bolt. We buy it by the package. All of the above, because we can't ever seem to keep it in stock. It's that good.
Fabulous. The process of making it to attach the fabric to the foam is called, or it's a lamination thing that's done by a flame. And so the foam passes over this flame, which liquefies it. And so then when the fabric hits it, it sticks to it. So there's no glues, there's no adhesives, there's nothing that's going to gum up your needle. It just sews through it as if it was quilt batting. But the beauty, again, is that it stays stable and it doesn't, stretch and stuff. The thing to know, it comes in black or white. We sell way more whites than we do black. But I always say if you're doing something with dark fabrics, the black is awesome because it really enhances those colors. If you're doing something with light fabrics, I definitely recommend the white because it brightens them and doesn't give you gray undertones. Something that I like to explain to people is if you have scraps left over, you can join them. You can either butt them up next to each other and just zigzag along that seam, or I'm not sure if you can see this, but I have heat press batting together tape on here.
I've never thought of that.
Yeah. I usually have a sample that's got black on it, and all of my step outs that I usually do demos with were packed away from coming back from a show, and they hadn't opened them yet. So when I went to the warehouse last night, I couldn't find them. Fortunately, they found them today. But the heat press batting together tape looks like this. It comes in black or in white, and it's a fusible on one side. So you just put that over your seam, put your iron on it and fuse it, and it's just like it was a solid piece. The other thing to know about Soft and Stable is when you take it out of the package, if it has any wrinkles or creases in it, just hit it with your steam iron, and it will be just like it came off the roll. Those wrinkles and things just disappear, which is the same when you've made a bag. You can take your bag and just crumble it up like this, it pops up just like it was. But if it's been folded in a certain place for a long time, again, just hit it with your steam iron, and it will puff it right back up. So it's fabulous for that.
Yeah.
A lot of our bags...
It is machine washable.
Yes, yes. And you can throw this in the washer all by itself and wash it. So it's not going to come apart, which is the other nice thing. Like if you were quilting fabric for a bag, the very first bag pattern that I wrote is called Annie's Favorite Purses. And I had a bag that I had bought that I absolutely loved, and I thought, I can make this. So I made the bag, and I just picked some quilt batting that I had left over from a quilt I'd made and quilted my fabric. And when I got done, it's like, oh my gosh, I like the design of the bag, but I can't get it to stand up to put stuff in it to save my life. What is the difference between this and the bag that I had bought? Well, when my bag that I bought started to wear out, I could see they had used foam in it, and I went looking for it and couldn't find it. So that was the reason why I developed Soft and Stable. So it just revolutionized bag making. It made it so that you could have a beautiful bag quickly and easily without having to iron on all kinds of extra interfacings and things to make your layers stand up. If you don't want to do the quilting, that's an option too. And what you're going to do, what I usually recommend doing, is taking your lining fabric, cutting it to the size that it tells you in the pattern for, like if it was a pattern that's written for quilted fabric, usually I'll have you quilt a couple of big pieces, and from that quilted fabric, cut out all the parts for your bag. So if you don't want to quilt your thing, just move down to that part where it says from the quilted packet or piece, cut your front, your back, your pockets and things. Cut your main and your lining fabric to those size. Cut your piece of Soft and Stable a little bit bigger. So then you're going to take your lining fabric and smooth it onto your piece of Soft and Stable and stitch 1/8 of an inch from the edge all the way around, keeping it nice and smooth as you do. And I really like using my stiletto when I do that. My walking foot on my machine has such a wide opening that it doesn't give me good contact with my fabric. So if I take my stiletto and just hold it at a right angle about 1 inch ahead of where I'm sewing, I can keep that fabric from pushing it away and getting to the end and having a big pucker because my fabric didn't move at the same rate as my Soft and Stable.
Right. Yes.
So I use this to mimic the action of a walking foot. So I get my lining sewn on, and then I trim my Soft and Stable so it's the same size as the fabric was when I started. So let's say this was a 9 by 12 inch piece. It may be a tiny bit smaller than that now because it's going to shrink up a tiny bit, but I still cut my Soft and Stable at 9 by 12, just, getting it. You might have a 1/16 of an inch of Soft and Stable hanging out around the edges. Once that's done, then I take my main fabric, which will then be the same on the front. This obviously was cut different, but I'm going to put that on there. It should line up on all the edges, and then I'm going to do the same thing, so 1/8 of an inch around that. I do this in 2 steps so that I can make sure each side is really nice and smooth. And I like to do the lining first, because if anything's going to get wrinkles, it's going to be what's ever on the bottom, and the lining I don't care about as much. Oops, my phone's ringing. Hang on. That's funny. There's my long-arm quilter calling.
There you go.
I'll talk to her later. Forgot I even had that up.
That's right.
So anyway, yeah, that's your process if you want to do it. So when you're done, then you have this. And if you look at this, you can see that I can reach in here and pull this away. My fabric is not attached except on the edges. But as soon as I let go, it's almost like a magnet. That fabric just pulls right back in there.
That long-arm quilter it really needs to get a hold of you.
Sorry about that. So anyway, that's Soft and Stable in a nutshell. The other thing to know about Soft and Stable is if you want it to fold somewhere, it's really good at following directions. So if you want it to fold somewhere, you just stitch through it. So if you look at these little clam up bags,
I love that.
Can you see how they have
I love how you
a
say
nice little
really,
crisp fold?
It's really good
at
following directions. That's awesome.
Yeah, so you just do a little line of stitching across there. The only purpose of this line of stitching is so that your bag folds up along that edge. So the pattern will give you instructions on where to sew that and make sure that it all looks really beautiful when you're done.
I love it.
So yeah, I love Soft and Stable makes fabulous placemats.
Yes.
You can throw these in the washer and dryer and they look brand new over and over and over again. If you made this out of batting, they'd be flimsy within a couple washes. And again, this backing is completely free, but I let go and it pulls it right back in, and you've got a perfectly reversible placemat. If you did the little flip and sew sewing with your backing on there, you'd see all that stitching in the back that doesn't always line up just right. So fun to do. This is also really easy because your backing folds around to make your binding, so it's a really simple process of binding as well.
Oh, I love
so we've got 3 or 4 different placemat patterns, and those are just really fun to make.
Wow. Yeah, I totally agree with the soft and stable for placemats. It's wonderful. And so I have to say there's a lot of people who got really excited when you brought out that stiletto. In fact, you're going to laugh at me, but I'm going to give you a little applause here through the beauty of my technology here. Are you ready for it?
Yep, yeah.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, I just heard a clip. Was it applause?
Yes, it's applause. Yeah, for cheering you on.
I can tell you, for anybody who's ever watched one of my videos, they know this. I absolutely cannot sew without this in my hand. And I usually have 6 of them in my sewing room because I have a tendency, because it's always in my hand, you know, there's all of a sudden there's one at the ironing board, there's one at the cutting table, there's one at my computer because I got it up, and so they're all over the house. So I have 6 of them stuck in my little wool pin cushion, and when there's none left, then I walk around the room and gather them all up again. But this tool makes absolutely all the difference in sewing bags. And I showed you how I do it for that, but what I especially love it for is when I do bindings. And I think I have a little sample here I can show you.
Yeah,
there's a couple things.
It's those little barbs, right? The little barbs on the needle is what makes the difference.
We spent about 2 years developing this, and if you go on my website and watch the Bianni stiletto and pressing tool videos, you'll see some of the iterations that we went through. We made sure that it's really comfortable to hold, and it's so lightweight you don't even know it. You have it in your hand. But we put a pressing tool on the end, and it took several times to get that angle just right so you can press a seam open. We flattened the sides so when you drop it on your table, it stays there and you're not crawling around on the floor looking for it.
Brilliant.
But the best thing is we send these tips to a needle making factory. Grind them. So they're just a little bit rough. They're not so rough that they're going to snag anything, but they're rough enough that they hold your fabric, and your hand's not doing this. You're not constantly falling off the edge. Really slick one, and that wears you out. This does not wear you out. So what I love about that little bit of roughness is, like say I'm binding an edge on something, I can take this. I may need to pull the thing back down.
Yeah, I was using it on binding my quilt yesterday.
Yeah, so you can take it, and like when I'm sewing this, I want this to come over here. I can say, okay, that needs to go there, and I can hold it there until I get sewn there. And that needs to go there, and that needs to go there. So it helps to pull it in place. Where's my other little one? This might be a better one. So on this, I've got my binding sewn on the first place, or first side, and now I'm ready to turn it to the back. So I can say, okay, this line of stitching where I attached my binding, I want this folded edge of the binding to be just past that, so that when I stitch down inside this folded edge, my line of stitching is coming out in the same place on the other side.
Right.
So by using this, I can position it right where it needs to be, stitch an inch, position that, and I just work my way down the piece. When I get to the sides, sometimes it's like, okay, that's a little bit tight. It's not going to cover that edge. But I can tell you that a fully filled binding, just like on a quilt, on a bag, if your binding is completely filled with fabric and soft and stable, you're going to have a much more professional looking binding that doesn't have wrinkles and creases in it.
Yeah.
So if you take and it seems like, oh, it's not going to fit there. Notice how I can take that. I mean, I could pull it all the way there if I wanted to, which I don't. I want it to be just there. But it really helps you to maneuver it and get it there, which would be so hard to do if all you had was your fingers. You just can't get your fingers in there and hold it.
It definitely grabs your fabric, which I love because of that the kind of the roughness of it. It grabs your fabric, but it's going to protect your fingers from the needle of your machine too.
Exactly, because you can't keep your finger there all the way till your needle gets there, but you can keep your stiletto there. So yeah, of all the tools I have, this ranks right up there with the rotary cutter.
Yeah, absolutely. So. Oh, with the rotary cutter, that's saying a lot.
It is. And I mean, those two things are the two I wouldn't live without.
I think you're absolutely right, though. I absolutely agree with you. I love it. So why don't you show us a few of your favorite bags that you've got there and do us a little mini trunk show, if you will.
Okay. I thought I would show you a few of my favorites and also things that you can use. And I realized I didn't talk about how you put zippers in, but if you go watch that on my, do you want to just go watch that on my website, or do you want me to show you real quick?
Oh, what? You know what?
Let me show you real quick. It's right here.
Yeah.
Let's do it, because this is, I think zippers really scare people, and it's so simple to do. So I'm going to take this little ring off of here so that I can show these easily. Okay. And then we'll show some bags. So when let's say we're going to put a zipper in a pocket. Can you see this okay?
Yes.
All right, so I've got my pocket right side up. I've got my zipper right side down. So right sides are together. So my pull is on the bottom side, and you can't see the teeth here. Mm-hmm. So you're going to put your right sides together. You're going to align your zipper along whatever edge you want your zipper attached to, and you're going to let it hang out on each end. So the main reason for that is you don't want to have your slide in here, because if you look at that's not the best one. Okay. If you look at this piece of zipper tape, can you see how the zipper tape bulges out where the slides are?
Yes.
And as soon as I pull these past, see how it straightens out?
Yeah.
If you've got your zipper slides way out here at the end, you have a nice straight piece of zipper tape to work with. Mm-hmm. If you've got your zipper slide right on your project, you've got a bump. And there's no way you're going to sew that in straight if you're trying to work around that.
That makes sense.
So if you have these all the way out to the edge, it's going to be really easy to sew. So let your slide hang off on this end. Let your stop hang off on this end. And you can always take this when you're done and make another zipper out of it. Mm-hmm. So let that out. Really important thing to know is that you don't want to see your pocket behind there at all. So I like to take my zipper tape and let it extend maybe 1/8 of an inch beyond the fabric. So if you look at the back here, you're going to see what I mean. Can you see that there's zipper tape extending at the top beyond the fabric? So let that hang out, and then you're going to just stitch all the way across your zipper with a 1/4 inch seam. And on my Bernina, my 1/4 inch foot, I can have one end there, the other, or one side there, the other side goes right up against those zipper teeth, and I get a nice straight stitch across there. Okay. Then the next step is the really important one. After you have that sewn, then you're going to take your zipper tape and you're going to fold it over to the lining side of your pocket, and you're going to finger press it down. And you're going to stitch along the very edge of the zipper tape and push all your raw edges underneath. Because you let it hang out that little bit over the edge, it's going to be much easier to have all those edges hidden. So it's going to look like this. So you can see I have no raw edges hanging out here. You can't see my soft and stable, my zipper's sewn down, and that also has produced my nice top stitching on the outside. What I often see happen is I walk around class when I'm teaching classes, and I'll see raw edges hanging out back here. And people will say, well, I wanted it to look good on the front, so I stitched it from the front. Don't do that, because you want it to look good on the back too. So what I usually do is I take my stiletto, and can you see this? I can run my stiletto along that seam. Can you see how it starts folding it over?
Okay, that's brilliant.
And then I just hold it down, and I use the tip of my stiletto to push any raw edges that are there, and I just work 1 inch at a time. So I'm pushing edges under, stitching, pushing edges under, stitching, and I just work my all the way down. So that's how you get your zipper put into your pocket. Simple and easy.
That's brilliant. I love that.
Now you've got zipper in your pocket, and on here I've got vinyl pockets, but it's the same if you're doing cloth fabric. And now I'm ready to put it in my project. So the really important thing is you want to make sure, again, that this zipper is zipped all the way shut. So your slide's going to be way out here when you go to put it in. You're going to wonder clip your pocket in place so it's nice and straight. You've marked some lines. And then when you start stitching, and I think this is one of my best tips I can share, start stitching here. So my zipper slides out here. Start at the top left corner of your zipper. Stitch across the top of the zipper, down the right side, across the bottom, and up the left, and make sure that before you stitch across the zipper tape, you pull that slide to the inside. Because in your next step, you're going to whack that zipper tape off, and you don't want your slide out here because then you got to figure out how to put it back on.
Right.
But because you already sewed across here, when you do open that zipper, this stays nice and straight, and it's just a simple matter to stitch across. You don't have to worry about holding it together and keeping this even because it was even.
That's a great tip. I love that.
Yeah. So now let's say that you want to do this bag. This is a pattern called quick zip cases. If you're looking for something really simple and easy to do for gifts, for neighbors, for teachers, this is a fabulous project. I usually make these, and it takes about 20 minutes to make one once you know what you're doing. But it zips open, and using soft and stable, it stands up. There's two sizes in the pattern, so a little one and a big one. And when you make this, basically what you're doing is you've got a piece of fabric. You're putting one zipper in like we showed you earlier. Then you're bringing the edges of your zipper over and making it even with your fabric, and you're sewing that in. Well, now it's time to finger press that zipper tape down and stitch to it, but you got all this fabric here. It's not going to be that easy. Because we use that zipper longer than we need, we just open our zipper up, and now we have a nice flat piece of fabric that we can put this down and stitch.
Much easier to get under the needle.
Absolutely. So now you're ready to go and do that, and then all you have to do is do a couple box bottoms and your bag's finished. So it's really fun and easy to do. One thing I forgot to mention on here is on here I just sewed the zipper in the way it was. On this one, we just sewed a binding to the top edge of the zipper before we put it in, and that gives you a much more finished look. And it makes it look like you did something a lot harder than just sewing a binding on the top of the zipper and putting your bag in, or your pocket in your bag.
I like the look of that, too.
Yeah, it makes it really fun, and we do that on a lot of our projects.
Yeah, definitely.
Here is one of the bags that is absolutely my favorite. This is a pattern that I designed at the request of Tula Pink. She said, I have all this hardware, all these scissors and rotary cutters, and I want a bag that I can put it all in and carry it, and every time I come out with a new line of fabric, I can make a new one. And so I agonized over what to design, but this is what we came up with.
No pressure.
It's got no pressure at all. I spent about 2 months trying to think, and I actually ended up with 2 other patterns of things that I thought might work and didn't work for that, but were great other patterns for other projects. So it wasn't wasted time. But you can see there's pockets on this side, little short pockets that I put all my chalk markers, small tools in. I didn't want to waste a bit of space. So there's a mesh pocket above it that I put larger things in. The mesh kind of, we haven't talked about mesh much, but mesh I love using in projects because it doesn't add any weight or any bulk, and you can see through it. It stretches. It gives you some ventilation depending on what you put in there, but it's just fabulous. So we did mesh for that, and then on the other side.
Annie, I was going to say that we have all your colors of mesh on our website as well.
Awesome. Fabulous. I'm going to show you some fun projects to make with mesh. So yeah, stay tuned. So this one has bigger pockets for your larger items, and then I put a small vinyl pocket here because I have turning tools that I use when I'm making handles and straps, and I didn't have anything that was big enough to hold those, and some of the tools in there are really small, and if I had made that pocket out of mesh, they probably would have fallen through the holes. So that pocket we made out of vinyl. On the center, there's the facing whose main purpose is to cover the raw edges of the zipper, but I didn't want to waste that space, so we put some fold-over elastic on it, which enables us to put things inside that. Tula puts her sewing machine feet in there. And then when you close it up, there's pockets on both the front and the back, and they hold a ton of stuff too. And the great thing is, when you're ready to go to class, you just zip it up, and everything is nice and compact and ready to go.
Now, that's in one pattern, right?
That's in one pattern. This one is called Running with Scissors.
Yes,
Tula actually named it.
Yep. I love it.
Right. And then the thing that we found is that once we got the whole bag figured out, we said, the beauty of this bag is that you can easily access it when you're at class. Everything's easy to do. Tula actually puts this on a Lazy Susan so that she can just turn it around and use whatever tool she needs. But the thing that we found, and especially when you get Tula's heavy tools in here, is we couldn't keep it standing up. And so we spent probably 2 weeks trying everything we could think of to get this silly bag to stand up and not fall over.
Yeah.
And finally someone said, what it needs under it is an A-frame. And so we said, okay, what bag do we have that's shaped like an A-frame? And we went and got an open wide bag and set it on it.
That's what I was going to say. I said, you guys have one.
Yeah, this is our solution. So we wrote a second pattern, and this is called Take a Stand. And this comes in 2 sizes, and it's designed so that when you get to class, you can just drape your Running with Scissors over it, and it's not going to fall over. So everything will be easy to access, but then in your Take a Stand, you can carry I have actually fabric in here so it doesn't fall over, but fabric, iron, whatever you want to put in there. And originally I had thought that would both be one pattern, but it was 28 pages and wouldn't fit in an envelope. So we broke this out and decided, because everyone kept saying, well, does the Take a Stand fit in this bag? And I said no, because I wanted it so that it didn't collapse it and so you didn't see it. But because we were writing a new pattern, we could include a larger size. So the Take a Stand pattern includes 2 sizes. This is the small, this is the large.
Annie, can you pull that large one down a little bit? There we go. Perfect.
So yeah, there's the large one, which, is actually big enough that you could put a small sewing machine in there. The only thing that I would, if you were going to carry a sewing machine, is it's designed to have just one handle that goes from side to side. If you were going to carry something heavy like that, I would add these little strap tabs that come up here and put straps on both sides so that it would be more stable, sturdy. That's really a bag and a super easy one to make.
Yeah.
And that is another one.
You're starting to break up just a little bit.
Meshing around.
There we go.
I'm going to put that screen back a little bit. So this is called Meshing Around, and cute. It's just a little drawstring backpack. It comes in 3 sizes, so this is the small, this is the medium, this is the large. Perfect if you're going to the swimming pool or the beach, or a lot of places if you're going to, big sporting events. They don't let you come in with a backpack that's closed. You have to have something see-through. Fun if you're going shopping. You can throw this in your other bag, and especially like at a quilt show where you're buying so much stuff, you can put all your stuff in there and put it over your shoulders, carry it like a backpack, and you're ready to go.
Yeah,
that's called Meshing Around. And that uses, I don't remember actually, but it uses mesh and fold over elastic. We use fold over elastic on the pockets so they have a little bit of added stretch and then a little bit of fabric. Yeah, then we also did a new one
for fold over elastic as well.
So great. It comes in so when we made the mesh, we had it specifically dyed to match our 14 best selling colors of zippers. So we have zippers that match the mesh, and then we dyed the fold over to match the mesh. So all of those coordinate. But as you'll notice, we rarely, I wouldn't say rarely, but we don't always use the same color of fold over as mesh. Because why? There's so many colors to choose from. Mix it up and have some fun.
That's right.
So this is another new pattern that we did at Fall Market. This one's called It's a Cinch. And this one is one that you can cinch closed and also carry over your shoulder or as a backpack. Our warehouse manager, David, does all the laundry at the laundromat. And so he had asked, can you do something? Because I usually have 40 pounds of laundry to carry. And so this large one, David has put his 40 pounds of laundry in there and carried it. And he said what he loves about it is he can throw it over his shoulder and put the laundry detergent in this hand, and he still has this hand free to hold his daughter's hand.
I love it.
So, this is
sweet.
a fun one to do. If you've got somebody who's going off to college and needs a laundry bag for that. I did this one for my grandson for all the pool toys, so you can hang it out by the swimming pool and things will and moldy and musty. And then this is just my graphic artist who does the layout and illustrations for all of our patterns said I like to go mushrooming. And she said, this will be perfect because the mushrooms will be ventilated and all the spores will, fall out as I walk through the forest and reseed the mushrooms. So, so many ways to use.
Who would have thought?
So that one is it's a cinch, and I know it takes 2 packages of mesh to make the large one. I'm sure you can make multiple of the small out of a package of mesh. This is another great pattern if you're looking for something for quick and easy gifts. And this is one that I often make as an emergency car kit.
I love this one.
You can see this, but I've got first aid stuff. I've got, Advil and Tylenol and lips, whatever you call that. Hand sanitizer. Man, I should pull that out of there.
That's a hot commodity.
That's worth a lot of money right now. But it's got 3 pockets. We made all of them out of mesh so you could see what's in them. And then when you're done, it folds up like this, and it has just a little slider on there so you can close it.
This happens to be one of my favorite bags of yours.
Really? A lot of people like this for English paper piecing because they can carry all of their supplies for that.
Yeah.
This is another one that's kind of along that same bent. This is one called Just in Case, and it closes with magnets, which I love because it's really easy to do, but it's got pockets similar to that. This is another one that I make often, especially if I'm looking for a gift for a guy. They can always use this kind of stuff to throw in their car, and you can pick a fabric that a guy would enjoy, and it's just a really easy one to do. On this one, we did 1 pocket out of vinyl and a pocket here out of mesh and a pocket in the middle that you can put like a flashlight or something in. And then the pattern also includes a larger size that is great for journaling. Put things in it when you take the kids to a restaurant. You can have colors and a little notepad and little cars or something to keep them entertained. Good little way to carry stuff to church and stuff too. So that pattern is called Just in Case.
Just in Case. I love it.
So that's a fun.
Hey, Krista Watson is on, and she said that Annie makes my fabrics look great.
I was just going to say, here's another one we made with Krista's fabric. We love Krista's fabric, and her new line that's coming out this spring is probably my favorite of all. It's going to be the cover for that pattern that I told you about earlier that I made for my grandson.
Yeah,
we'd actually love to use it for 2 or 3 different covers, but we got to show the love.
That's
but
right.
It's fabulous.
She's going to be on Thursday, so hopefully she'll show us.
So this is a pattern called Pocket Packers, and it really makes the fabric look beautiful, doesn't it? But the beauty of this, when I do shows, I will usually have all kinds of demo stuff, and as you can see, just this table, how much stuff I've got thrown out. I found that I'd get an hour into the show and I'd have this mound this tall of things I was demonstrating with. So I needed some way to organize it and keep it together. So I made a set of bags like this with all different sizes of pockets, and people kept coming to the show because I hang them next to where I'm demoing, and people would keep picking them up and saying, what pattern is this? I need this pattern. And at the time I didn't have a pattern, but I got one made. So this is called Pocket Packers, and it has 4 different styles. So style 1 has 1 pocket in the front. Style 2 has 2 pockets in the front. Style 3 has 3 pockets. And style 4 has 4 pockets.
I love
And
it.
any of those pockets can be divided if you want. So you can see here we did the different colors of zippers on them to give you a little bit of extra fun with that. And then each of them also has a full mesh pocket on the back. You've got two different options for handles. You can either do short handles or long handles. So if you want to wear it over your shoulder, you can. I did the shorter handles because, again, I usually hang it on a hook next to where I'm demonstrating. But the beauty of these, they hold so much stuff. I mean, you won't even believe how much stuff you can get in here. But I put these in my suitcases to organize my things. Two of them next to each other fit perfectly in a regular size suitcase. And then when TSA opens my bags, they can see at a glance what's in there, and they're not rifling through all my stuff. I'm not worrying about losing stuff.
Oh, so true. So true. Good point.
Travel or organizing your sewing supplies, there's just so many ways to use them. And again, mesh on the back, vinyl on the front, soft and stable inside, and lots of fun with zippers.
Oh, my goodness.
Let me show you these two bags. And then I want one other thing to show you. So these are two backpacks that we did updated versions of these patterns for fall market. This one is called Got Your Back. This is a great size if you have kids in school who carry a binder and need a bigger backpack. This one is called Back At Ya, and what I love about Back At Ya is it's smaller. It doesn't hold so much stuff, so it doesn't get so heavy. This is a great one for just running around town or traveling with. So each of them has a pocket on the front with some little credit card pockets or room key pockets inside and a magnetic flap that closes that. On the back, there's a zippered pocket, and then on the inside, each one of them has, again, I put fabric in them so they'd stay up, but each one of them has a mesh pocket that goes from top to bottom on one side and is zippered, and then a slip pocket on the other side. Wow. And they've got a little added grab handle for carrying it, and then adjustable straps so you can carry it. So fun to make, easy to do, and just really great for gifts.
Do you have a sample by chance of the bowling ball
pattern?
Your bowling ball pattern?
Bowl me over? Yep, oh, yeah. I do.
Because I think that one is, oh yeah, there it is. I think that one is so cute.
Yeah, so this is called Bowl Me Over. It's a bowler silhouette. So I have people all the time say, that doesn't look big enough for my bowling ball. And it's like, no, it wasn't designed to carry a bowling ball. It's just that's the shape of it. But right. What I love about this bag is it has a magnetic flap on the pocket in front. Around 10. Not so big that it's an amazing amount of stuff. There's a zippered pocket on the back. We did two different versions on the handles, so you can do little grab handles and a crossbody strap, or you can skip the crossbody strap and do longer handles so you can wear it over your shoulder. And the pattern tells you how to customize that to fit you. And then on the inside, pull out the fabric that's making it stand up. We have a mesh pocket that goes from top to bottom, and then on the other side, we did a pocket, and we used the fold-over elastic on the top of that to gather it and make it into an elasticized pocket. So that's just such a fun bag to make and carry.
You really think of everything too.
Oh, we try.
You know,
between everybody that's helping me do this, not too much gets past us. They think of things that I don't always think of. So here's some couple. You want a couple of tips about mesh?
Yeah, I was just going to say, does anyone say, I think we need to add another pocket, and you think, no. Do you ever think that?
You know, what happens is we've kind of had to do this, that if you want to add another pocket, you have to make that decision while it's still in the prototyping stage. However, we have a pattern coming out for spring market that is an update of an older pattern, and the older pattern had just one pocket that kind of went from side to side. Mm-hmm. And we talked about it at the beginning and said, oh no, let's just leave it that way. We got the whole pattern written and finalized and tested, and someone said, you know, it really would be better if that was 2 separate pockets. And at that point, I sat down and thought about it, and you know what, she's right. So we started over, and it meant way more changes than you would think in everything.
Oh, I'm sure.
But, yeah, but you know what? It's like I'd rather decide that now than after done.
Exactly.
And so, but here's the various colors of mesh, and here's another little tip I can share for you. Okay. When you are trying to decide, I recommend that you buy all colors, obviously, but when you're trying to decide which color to use, cut yourself some 6-inch squares, get your fabric out, and lay them on top and see which one gives you the effect you want. I have been amazed at how often the one that I think is the obvious choice is not always the best choice. So just by being able, when you look at the mesh in the package, it's folded up in a bunch of layers. It looks very different than what just a single layer looks like.
That's very true.
And so you kind of have to, even as a store, I recommend having one of these so that people can lay it out on their fabric. But I've been amazed, especially when it comes to case facet fabrics. It's amazing how, you think that's orange, but you lay that orange mesh on there and it does not look good. And the red or the pink is a much better choice. Yeah. So if you can try all the options, that really helps. Yeah. And then in the fold over and being able to, lay it out and look too is also really helpful. The thing to know about the mesh, there's a couple little secrets I want to share before we go too far, is that mesh, just like fabric, has a grain to it. So it has more stretch on the crosswise grain than it does on the lengthwise grain. And all of our patterns are written with the height first and then the width. So when you're cutting it, make sure that whatever the first number is the up and down, and the width is the sideways. That way, when you put stuff in your pocket, it's going to stretch more, and it's just going to work better. So I will admit, there are times when I have scraps, and I have done it the other way, and it doesn't ruin your project, but it's much better if, once I've figured that out, I always make sure I cut it that way, so that the stretchiness is going across the side, and the less stretchy is up and down.
Good to know.
Then when you're ready to bind it, if you're doing fold over elastic, this is awesome because it's one step. Your fold over elastic has a shiny side and it has a matte side, and you can use either side out. So if you want it to look like this, you fold it this way. If you want the matte side, you fold it the other way. But it has a fold woven right down the middle of the elastic. And so you lay it down, you lay your mesh or your fabric, if you're gathering fabric, right along that fold, and then you fold it over, and then you just stitch along the edge. And when you're done, it looks like one step to attach a binding. And if you want to gather it, you just stretch the elastic as you go, and that gathers your fabric up. So this is fabulous. And if you're doing fabric, I have a couple tips for binding it with fabric.
Okay.
First of all, sew with the mesh on top, because you want to keep your eye on it. You want to make sure you're catching it all the way across there. So fabric's on the bottom, mesh on top, sew across that with a seam. And then here's another use for your stiletto. I take my stiletto and I want to press.
There we go.
Can you see? I want to press this seam up towards my binding. I don't like to press my bindings ever with an iron. I always just fold them in half and bring the ridges together and pin them, because I think I get a smoother binding that way. But I just run this along here, so I'm getting that binding pressed up, and then this folds over, and I stitch along the edge so all my raw edges are hidden underneath there.
Great.
When I'm done, it looks like this. So here it is with that pressed up, and then I fold that over, and here it is done. So my goal is that you cannot tell which side I did it on. This side and this side both look exactly the same. I did pretty good on there.
Annie, there's a good question right here that I bet a lot of people have out there. Cheryl says, overwhelmed. Suggestions on a first Annie project?
A first Annie project. Pocket packers.
Pocket packers. Okay.
good because there's a video that goes with this,
okay,
and a lot of good tips. Another first Annie project, we have 4 free patterns on our website.
Okay.
That are kind of, we're trying to develop a By Annie Basics series where you learn techniques that you need on our big projects, but you're making something small that doesn't, require a big investment of money or time. And the first one that we did, let me pull these apart so I can tell you about them. If you're sitting at home and you've never made a By Annie bag before, this is your By Annie Basics class.
Okay.
I would work through these 4 projects, and then you will be able to tackle any one of our bags. Mm-hmm. So the very first one is called Petit 4 baskets. Can you see that basket up there? They're just little baskets made with soft and stable and 2 10-inch squares of fabric. Mm-hmm. So great, easy to do, but they teach you how to work with soft and stable, how sewing through it makes it fold, fun to make. Then the next one that I would recommend doing is Peacekeeper, which is very similar to pocket packers, but just one pocket. So you've got a mesh pocket on the front, a handle at the top, and a zipper. So the pattern walks you through that. And the video for this one, if you're new to a rotary cutter and cutting with a rotary cutter, I went into a lot of detail about how to use that. And it has a lot of detail about how to do the binding on the edge. So this is a really good one to do next. Then I would recommend doing this one, which is called Call Me, and it makes this little bag, which is perfect if you're going to a quilt show and you need something to put your name tag in. Here, you can see it better here. Vinyl pocket on the front that you can put your name tag in, a little zippered pocket at the bottom for your credit card, and then on the back there's a mesh pocket for your phone. So
good.
Just, if you're running around town and just want your phone and a little bit of money, this is perfect for that. But in the course of making this, you learn to work with mesh and fold over elastic, vinyl. You learn to put a zipper in a pocket. You learn to make your own bias binding, round edges, and attach it. So you learn a lot of skills, but a quick, easy project. So that's the third one. And then the last one I would do is called Easy Does It, and that makes this bag.
Yeah.
And this bag is awesome for gifts. I have all my charger cords and my laptop, supplies in here, and everything's nice and compact, and I know, right where it is. I usually carry 2 of these when I travel, one with all my cords and stuff, the other with all my snacks in it. So
of course, it can't be too big for too many snacks, right?
The biggest pattern is that you learn to put a zipper between 2 strips and then join them to this. This seam right here, or this piece that makes a loop, is used in so many of our patterns. And this is one step that people sometimes have a hard time understanding what I'm trying to tell them to do. And that was the step out that I had out here earlier. What I often see is normally when we're doing a binding, we sew it on and then we bring it over and we fold it over and stitch along the edge.
Annie,
well, if you do that...
Could you bring that down just a little bit?
Like that?
No. Oh, okay. Just your project down a little bit. There we go. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. So when you're doing a binding, you're going to fold your binding in half. You're going to sew it, and when you're doing this strip, you always want to make sure you're sewing it to the side where the zipper is first. So you're going to sew across that with a 1/4-inch seam, and then you're going to fold this around to the front. You're not going to do this, but if you did, normally on a binding, let's say we're binding a pocket, you'd fold it around and you'd stitch along that edge. Well, if you do that on this is what you end up with. It looks great here, but as soon as you open your strip, you've got this big, bulky seam right here.
Right.
And then you got to figure out how to deal with this when you sew this to the front and back of your bag to put it together. And invariably what I see happen is people are paying so much attention to keeping this all held together that they just fold this whichever way they're going. So on this side, you're sewing this way, and it ends up here. Well, when you sew that one, they ended up there. And then not only do you have this big bump, but you got this big lump in it. Can you see that?
Yep.
So the whole purpose of writing that pattern was to teach the technique to do that right. And somewhere here on my table, I had it. I showed it when I was doing the stiletto. It's probably over here somewhere. Well, I can probably do it. With this. So what you're going to do is, instead of just sewing one seam here, you're going to sew some extra seams. The thing about Soft and Stable is the more you sew through it, the more it compresses. So by doing a 1/4 inch seam and then 1/8 of an inch on each side of that, so I have 1/8, 1/4, and 3/8 when I'm done, mashing this down each time I sew it, so it really flattens it. And then when I fold it over, instead of folding it like that, I'm going to fold it over flat against my side strip and stitch along the edge. Here it is.
Okay, that was life-changing.
So there it is. There it is with all the lines of stitching. And then when I fold it over and stitch along the edge, it's going to look like that. So can you see how nice and flat that is on the edge?
Yes, I love that.
Compared to that, where I have that big. So that's the purpose of Easy Does It, is to teach you how to do that, and then how to sew together a dimensional bag and how to bind the edges on a dimensional bag. So those 4 projects, if you work through those, you'll be ready to do anything we've written a pattern for.
Oh, I love that. Perfect.
And then when you're ready to go, something like quick zip cases is super easy. Project bags is super easy. Clam up, flipping out. The sewing machine covers are super easy. Really, nothing. Stash and dash, this one, super easy.
Let's pull that camera back on you, my friend. Get that back scratcher out. Ta-da!
I'm so glad I thought of that. But yeah, these are just super easy to do. And my table is an absolute disaster. But, I mean, really, even Ultimate Travel. The thing about Ultimate Travel Bag that scares people is they say, but it's so big. But I can tell you that big is not hard.
Right.
Big is sometimes easier. In fact, when we teach clam up, we always say make the medium or the large size first, because it's way easier than the little tiny one.
Yep.
So don't let size scare you.
Yeah. I totally agree with you. Oh my goodness, so many good things you have taught us today. Holy cow, I love it. You are amazing.
It was fun. I love being able to share tips and techniques. Because tips and techniques, if you've got the right technique to do something, it just makes it so much easier. And the right tools and the right products.
And
having
having the right tools.
All the different
things. Yep, absolutely.
We talk about the giveaways that we're going to do.
Yes, let's do that right now. I was pulling up, if you want to follow Annie on Instagram, I have her handle right here on the screen. You can see it. It's Patterns by Annie. And if you want to follow her on Facebook, it's by Annie. So, yeah, why don't you tell us about what giveaways you have today?
All right, so I'm going to do 3 different giveaways, and the first one is 2 patterns. One is Bow Me Over, which is this bag.
Love that one.
It's actually the same one as on the cover. And then the other is Flipping Out, which is this one, and then the larger one as well. So fun to make, and just these have both been really popular. So some lucky person's going to get a couple of really fun projects to sew.
Ooh, fun.
Then the next one is my favorite tool, by Annie Stiletto and Pressing Tools. So even if you already have one of these, you'll be thrilled to get another one.
That's what I was just going to say. You need 2 or 3 of them, right?
Yep. People keep calling me today. No one ever calls me. All right, so that's number 2. And then the third one is the pattern for Call Me, and a package of Soft and Stable. And this is our pre-cut pieces that are made for doing placemats. So you'll have enough in here to make either a whole bunch of Call Me or a set of placemats.
I love that.
And then we put in a package of mesh and a zipper. So with this mesh and this zipper, you can make at least 2 call me's. I mean, you'll have plenty of zipper tape. You could make more than one if you had some extra slides. But fun projects to do, and we hope that that'll get people going on something maybe that they haven't tried before.
Exactly. I love that. Thank you, Annie. And we also have a $50 gift card to my girlfriend's quilt shop that we're also giving away for those of you who are on this broadcast today. So
that's so sweet.
Yeah. So for people to enter, all you have to do is make a comment down below on this video and tell us something new you learned today or something maybe you're excited about trying. So we will have the comment picker choose some comments tomorrow. So you've got 3 prizes and I've got the 1. So we'll have 4 winners to announce tomorrow. And we would love to hear your feedback. What did you think about today's show? What is something you're excited about making with Annie? And or something new, a tip that you learned. And of course we would love it if you would share the video with your sewing friends as well. That would be fabulous. So
yeah, and make sure that you know that all of these products are available from Kris, so order them from her.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, so go to mygirlfriendsquiltshop.com, hit new releases, and you will see everything right there. Jenny's been working really hard on getting all that product out there for you, and we are excited to be able to offer that to everyone. So yeah, thank you. So I'd like to end today. We've got lots of comments coming through. You'll have to go back and read through them, Annie, later on.
I will.
It will be fun for you to see what people are saying about what they loved about the show today. So before we end, I'm doing what I am going to do every day this week with each one of our guests. I want to find out from you some life advice that you have, everyone, especially in this crazy time that we're dealing with right now. A little bit of inspiration from our fellow designers would be a great pick-me-up. So what do you have for us, Annie?
I think my advice, and it's advice that I pretty much give every time I'm asked this question, and it's a quote that I learned a long time ago, and it's, if you think you can, you can, and if you think you can't, you can't. So have a positive attitude. We're all going to get through this. We can make it happen with positive attitude and thinking we can, and it applies when you're sewing too. I can't tell you how many times people say, "Oh, I can't do that. I can't do zippers. I can't do bindings." And once they learn the few techniques that go with it, it's like, "Well, yes, I can." And they'll be like that lady that said, "I'm feeling pretty invincible now." So go out and be invincible, and let's beat this. Thank you all so much for watching. This was so much fun, and it was really, I've been home all by myself for a week, and I'm looking at, I don't know how many more weeks of this. So thank you for giving me a chance to interact a little and know that there's people out there too. So thank you. This was fun.
You are so welcome, Annie. You have always been such a great, just such a great person inside and out, and you are definitely a light. You are. It radiates from you, my friend, and I have so enjoyed getting to know you over the past 10 years and seeing how your business has grown and just being able to follow with all the amazing things you do, because it's incredible. I mean, obviously you've been doing this for 20 years. For me, as a shop owner, it's been almost 10. But I've been able to just, rub shoulders with you, and it's been an absolute privilege.
Same here. Thank you so much. I've really enjoyed it too.
You bet.
I think that's the best part of this business is the relationships that you make, and the people from other people in the industry, designers, and customers. It's a delight. It's a wonderful industry to be involved with. I think it's the best. thank you so much.
You bet. You bet. So thank you, everyone, for being with us today. And just wanted to remind you that tomorrow at 12 o'clock noon Mountain Standard Time, I will be interviewing Emily Taylor from Emily Taylor Design. Do you know her, Annie?
I don't think I do.
Oh.
So I'll watch. I loved yesterday's presentation, and I don't know Carmen either. I do know Krista, but it was I was so excited by the time yesterday's program was over. I was ready to go make a quilt.
Yeah,
but yeah, I will definitely watch tomorrow and see what's new. So yeah. So what does Emily do?
Emily is she is so amazing. She is a collage quilter. And
fabulous.
You are going to be blown away at the things that she does with collage applique. It's stunning. It's creating a masterpiece with fabric. And I'm so excited.
I can't wait to watch that. I have to say that when I started writing patterns, I did it as a way to pay for my quilting habit. And, it's like I'd sell a pattern and I'd have $10. I could go buy another yard of fabric. And,
right.
Now it's at the point where I never have a chance to make a quilt. But after yesterday, and I'm sure after tomorrow, I'm going to be quilting.
Yeah, that's
I'm going to start setting aside at least a day a week for just fun like that. Because that's so important, too. You can't just work all the time. Although I'm fortunate in that work I do is fun too, so that makes a huge difference.
When you do what you love, then they say it's not a day of work in your whole life if you do what you love. I agree with that partly.
Yeah. There are times when you're doing tax returns that I used to be a CPA and I used to do tax returns every day, and this is so much more fun. But you still have to do all those things too, all part of it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I know that the gals that sew models for me get really tired of sewing sometimes too.
I bet.
Bless their hearts, I appreciate them.
All of what we do is a lot of work, but you know what? It sure is fun too. So I think we both can say we're very grateful for where we're at, right?
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. Even in this, with everything going on, I'm still happy where I am. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, my friend. We will see you
later.
Thank you.
All right. Hugs to everyone. Air hugs
virtually.
To everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks again, everyone, for joining me today, and I hope I will see you tomorrow at 12 o'clock noon as I interview Emily Taylor. All right. Have fun. Let's see, how do I always end these? I say, stay healthy, stay safe, stay home, and keep sewing. See you tomorrow.